A former US president once said, "Politics is supposed to be the second oldest profession. I've come to realize that it bears a very close resemblance to the first. Where politicians are, scandal seems to follow, and when it is of a sexual kind, it can have all sorts of devastating effects on the victim, both alleged and confirmed, family, society, and the accused's political home." With just months to go before the 2019 elections, the governing party scarcely needs scandals of any kind. But when they hit as they have, will how the ANC responds be the lens through which it is judged come voting day? On Madam Speaker, we ask, is the ANC firm on sex scandals and those accused? And does it have the institutional template to respond convincingly and consistently when it happens? My panel is Magdalene Munsami, an ANC and former ANC Youth League spokesperson. Lisa Vetten is a renowned gender violence specialist. And on my jury today, Martin Pelders from Matrix Men, and Mbuyiselo Botha, a former commissioner for the Commission for Gender Equality and founder of the South African Men's Forum. We had also invited from the ANC Youth League chairperson Tabang Lediga, unfortunately did not join us at the last minute. The rules are really, really simple. Time is limited, so let's be lean and lovely. Now, the finger of blame has been leveled at several ANC figures. In the latest incident, ANC spokesperson Pule Mabe was accused of sexual misconduct by a former PA and cleared by the party's grievance panel. The NPA says former Western Cape Chair Marius Fransman is to appear in court on allegations of sexually assaulting his former personal assistant. Spokesperson Zizi Kodwa made headlines when allegations surfaced about him and alleged sexual misconduct, which he has denied as political blackmail, and no charges have been laid. The National Working Committee of the party says both Mabe and Kodwa agreed to step aside, Mabe saying while he has been cleared, he needs time to recover. Magdalene Munsami, let's perhaps kick off the questions with you. As a former insider, do you believe that the ANC has the institutional means to respond decisively on allegations of sexual misconduct?
I don't believe that it has the capacity in terms of the fact that sexual harassment policies are not instituted. You need to have a structure. You need to have a means of being able to. It's election time. Timing is critical. If you have not prepared sufficiently for the issue of sexual harassment, and it's going to create indentations within the party, it then has ultimately an effect on your voting capacity. The second issue is that I don't believe that it is the familiarity with victim and perpetrator becomes an issue of convenience at this time. And we need to, as a society, become more aware to the realities of why now and not prior. What have been it's not cultural, it's obviously an issue of a dispensation that has been transpiring over the years in terms of victim perpetrator, or is it something
So is it a culture that's pivoted on patriarchy, you would say, inside the ANC?
I would believe that patriarchy is not a responsibility of the ANC. Patriarchy is a subsequence of a colonial mentality, which in my view has not left society. But how has it entrenched itself in political parties? So for me, the major issue is, do we have a balance in society in terms of the issue of prosecution and exoneration, in terms of what issue? Is the person who is leveling such charges, have they been in a position to prosecute?
Right. It's slightly outside. Let's talk about what happens inside the doors, because at the point of realization or the point of making a claim and an accusation, it happens within a particular context, Lisa Vetten. Would you say that that context inside the ANC today, from everything you have observed, is conducive to people being able to say what's happened to them?
No, because if you don't have a policy, who do you report to? Who do you tell? What procedures do you follow? How does the party decide what to investigate, what to set aside? I'll give you a very egregious, in my opinion, egregious example. In 2016, the ANC allowed a man by the name of Sipho Maselani to stand as a local councillor in Winterveld. He was facing 4 counts of rape,
which the party knew about.
Which the party knew. He was out on bail. They allowed him to remain as a councillor for 2 years while the trial went on. They refused to suspend him on the grounds of, oh no, we must let the criminal justice system run its course. That's nonsense. That shows a confusion between the the fact that you have a criminal process and you have an internal party policy process which would look at things like gross misconduct, for example, or bringing the party into disrepute, or just the fact that he's not a fit and proper person. So he was only removed because he was found guilty and sentenced to life. We have another case going on, reported mid-February, an ANC councillor in the Northern Cape. That, because the police did investigate the docket in time when he was due to appear in court, has been withdrawn. But there again, we haven't seen the party taking a strong stance. And these are cases where there are actually criminal charges. They're beyond even internal matters. So you would imagine they would jump a little higher to do something.
So from where you're sitting, I mean, it's not only becoming more and more common. Would you go as far as to say that this seems to be endemic behavior?
Absolutely.
You would, Magdalene? Why?
I would absolutely say this endemic behavior, because I think for the first time, what we are seeing is the voices of women that are coming out. The difficulty is that when are they going to prosecute? We can't, as a society, make a predisposed decision on a woman who won't prosecute, but rather go into internal processes. And on the other hand, a person who goes into the employment space and is unable to then quantify her claim in terms of internally, and then have to resort. So my question is, what is the conundrum that exists between the internal disposition and the criminal justice system? I don't disagree with Lisa. All I'm saying is that, are we trying to contain for the sake of pro-party electioneering, or are we trying to manage the process way beyond and hand it over to the criminal justice system?
I'm trying to follow your reasoning here. So, you know, from your point, and as you said, Lisa, because there have been inconsistencies in how the ANC has dealt with it, you know, the way different cases are treated would seem to rest on the discretion of whoever it's been, you know, whoever's attention it's been brought to.
Precisely. And I think what's also a problem is that we as a society tend to focus on the very high-profile cases and get very upset about that on Twitter. These cases that occurred in small towns, in provinces we don't often think about, barely made ripples on Twitter, which is a problem. I think the other issue we need to look at is the fact that in the legislature, you have another difficulty in that you have people who are employed by the legislature, and then you have the MPs. Now, they're not employees of the legislature, so who takes action against them? Because here you have a very complicated workplace relationship.
I think what I'm concerned about is if this is a type of culture which in some ways rests on a lack of consistency, where does it leave people who want to blow the whistle or who want to raise a claim? Would you go as far as to say that it would silence them from coming forward?
Well, it does, because who do you tell this to? What is the definition? Does what has happened to you fit within that definition? You don't even really know where to begin. So it is an extremely serious problem, because it's, in not having a policy, you're kind of saying, there's nothing we do about this. We don't even think this is sufficiently serious to actually set out steps around how to deal with it, and to train people to deal with it adequately when they bring forward a complaint.
All right, so there's an impact internally in the party, and there is an impact certainly when it comes to, I suppose, the psyche of voters in making up their minds about which party they put their X next to. Coming up after the break, my jury weighs in. You're watching Madam Speaker.